the living everyday wonder as our body. And last week we learned about it being the temple of the divine, and how we have this magnificent and magical conduit between God and our individual consciousness. And as we started experiencing that, we move closer to actually experiencing God in the here and now as we engage with our body, as that song says. Just recognizing our own beauty just as we are right now. And that was so pertinent for Bob to talk about being in the now. That's where we want to stay. And these two readings about that divine pattern that is within every one of us. And we can, once we tap into that, it's just incredible how life changes. Because the best body we have is right here and right now, because through it, we can experience deep, deep emotions and huge feelings. And we can experience joy and love and harmony. And we can experience that changing our thinking and coming out as this greater yet to be that we are. As I was preparing for this, there's an affirmation for this week. And when I first said it, it was like, do I really believe this? And so I'm going to say it now, and then I'm going to repeat it and ask you to repeat it with me. I delight in the wonder of my body and treat it kindly. So I'd like each of you to say that to yourself. Say it out loud if you can. I delight in the wonder of my body and treat it kindly. And I ask you just for a quick moment, just go into yourself, in your mind and your thoughts, and into your body, and find those places that say, oh yeah, I delight in that. And then there's those ones that go, well, maybe not here. Maybe when, whatever. But think about how it feels. Because what happens is we are taught to dislike our bodies, to hate our bodies, to apologize for our bodies, as we have these unrealistic ideals of what a good body is. And for many of us, it causes us to be in a situation where you have a lot to overcome to be in that joy that your body is. And we learn to ignore it. We learn to just ignore all of that. The Roger Teal talks about the power of when we can tap into what it is our body's saying. I watch my grandson Carl, who's almost 3 years old now, and I go back and I look at pictures of him, and there's an immediate, oh my gosh, he was a lot heavier than I remember him being. But he didn't know, he didn't care, we didn't care even at that point in time, and he's not quite 3 yet, and he's already close to 4 feet tall, and he weighs almost 50 pounds, but he's a big kid, and he doesn't know it. He doesn't know. He knows who he is. He knows his body, but he's and we're working to not make him be conscious of the fact how large he is. Most people think he's 5 years old. So, and what I've learned from watching my grandchildren is they don't think of their body as being something separate from them. That their body is them. They live in their body. And sometimes in this teaching, we can forget that. We think of the body as something separate from our spiritual life. We hear this saying, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And so we have a tendency, from that, you also hear, you are not your body. Well, you're not, but you are. It's an integral part of who you are. And here's what Ernest Holmes says about that on page 74 in Science of Mind. The body is the house in which, for the present, you are living, and you need to keep it in good repair by a right mental attitude towards it, experiences, and people. Your body is entitled to your respect. It is an integral part of all that we are. It is the temple of the divine. It is where the divine with that we are lives. It's integral to every part. And if you go back and you listen to what Ernest Holmes said in the 10 ideas that make a difference, is that, every organ within us, every cell within us has that divine pattern within it. There's no part of us. I mean, it's not like I can, take this, come here to my, crown chakra and kind of pull my spiritual self out of this body. That's not going to happen. And in my experience, my personal experience, and what I experience of other people is that often we can see that the body is an expression of God, and we can see the beauty in it, and we can see the harmony, but just not my body, whoever I am. And not at this moment. If I lose 10 pounds, if I work out more, if I, start eating salads instead of potato chips for lunch, if I can get off this medication I'm in, if I can, maybe go get my nose fixed or whatever it is, then my body will be this expression of God. And while I was preparing for this, I just love how the universe works. I was out, surfing Facebook, and all of a sudden this Bruce Lee quote popped up, and it was so perfect. And those of us who are old enough know who Bruce Lee is. And if you're into martial arts, you probably know who he is. And I would suggest, if you don't know who he is, look him up on Google, because he's an incredible person. He said, "Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and cast spells. Change the way you speak about yourself, and you can change your life. What you're not changing, you are choosing." So think about that. Gary said it, change your thinking, change your life. Well, change your thinking, change what you say, pay attention to what you say to your body, and your body will change. Your body will come into harmony with yourself, but you need to love it as it is right now. Because if I don't, then what's happening is I'm coming from a sense of lack. I'm coming from a sense of it's not. And when I love my body the way I am, and I learn to listen to it, then I do exactly what Ernest Holmes said in Gary's reading. I start paying attention, and I start recognizing that everything I do to my body is spiritual every time I feed it. There's a story of a woman who had a self view of herself that she took up too much space. She was too heavy. She was too loud. She was too whatever, and she was constantly trying to shrink herself in and making her take smaller amount of space in the world. And so she went to a retreat at a healing temple, and the focus of this retreat was awakening to the sacredness of your own body. And there was one night, as they gathered for their evening activity, the group was told to sit in a circle, and there was going to be dancing. This woman loved dancing, and she was all excited. And then it was, and each person will come to the center of the circle, and the rest of us will watch this person as a solo dancer dance to music, to the whole song. And she became terrified. And as she watched others get out there, they were so graceful, and she was constantly comparing herself and saying, "I'm not that." And so when it came to her turn, which I thought this was very brave of her, that she actually got into the center of the circle, that she didn't run out and say, "I'm not participating." So at least, she had the courage to go into the center of the circle, but she was filled with so many negative thoughts about her own body and about her own self that she just stood there in the center of the circle, paralyzed, trying to be as small as she could, just holding herself, shrinking down, to the entire song. And she just stood there with tears streaming down her face, just feeling how wrong her body was in every moment of the song. And at the end of the song, there was complete silence. And everyone in the circle sat there, or actually they got up and they came to her together and hugged her and held her, did not say a word, and then moved away and let her have her space and let her be exactly who she was, and just poured love towards her. And later on, this woman was talking to one of the facilitators and said that that moment became a turning point in the relationship of her body. And what she said was, the moment that they hugged me, I felt so accepted, and I was accepted without them trying to fix or change or make me okay. And it opened my eyes that my body is okay just the way it is. And that's an important thing. It's important for us to understand, no matter what is going on in our body, that it is okay just the way it is. It's perfect just the way that it is. And that kind of perfection that I'm talking about is God. It's not what the TV says. It's not what movies say. It's not what magazines ads say. And when we stop fixating on these ideal bodies that are being thrown at us all the time, we can make a change. Because when we fixate on it, what we do is we take away the joy and the delight that our own bodies in the current, as we are right now, offer to us in this present moment. Just as Bob was saying, be in the now. There's no future, there's no past. It's just what it is now. And what happens when is if we are fixating on what our body's not, then what we create an environment for ourselves, and then therefore that ripples out and creates the environment for everyone around us, that you can never have a body worth celebrating. If we focus on the scars, the fat, the medication that I'm taking, the fact that I don't know, that I have a chronic illness that causes these limitations, that the scars, and for those of us who've had children, those stretch marks, and if you haven't and you have stretch marks, that's okay too, because we get them no matter what. And if we stop focusing on that, if we stop saying that that's bad, if we start recognizing that there's a greater us to be, then our body will shift, because our thoughts will shift. We're not coming from that lack. We're not coming from what I'm not. We're coming from, I love me just the way that I am, just like that song says. Because our body is magnificent and miraculous, no matter what. Doesn't matter. When you start thinking about all the processes going on inside of our bodies in this moment, in the time that we've been together here on Zoom, think about it. Your kidneys and liver are filtering all that's not needed from your system. They're cleaning out your system and putting it into the right way to get to be eliminated from your body. And that's what Ernest Holmes talks about, perfect elimination. Our blood supply is swirling around in our body at several times a minute. And in the time we've been together, it has exchanged oxygen and carbon dioxide and has kept us breathing and living and being who we are. And the mitochondria within us are synthesizing ATP, and they're turning everything that we eat, all the food that we eat, into energy to keep us moving and going. And it all happens without us having to even think about it. And so this body that we have, our awareness and our intentions and our thoughts and our feelings exist in this divine and very complex this casing was the word that came to me. It's it's where our consciousness lives, and it does such wonderful things. And the biggest thing it does is house this consciousness. And it's not like there's like a little chamber inside where we can open up our chest and pull our consciousness out or pull it out through our crown chakra. It is, our consciousness is immersed in every cell of our body, every atom and every molecule that makes up our body, all the spaces in between them. That is where our consciousness resides. It's not in any one place in our body. We all tend to go to our heart chakra, or some people go to their third eye. But when we say go inside into that place within, it's really everywhere. It's everywhere in our body. And this body, just think about it, it's so amazing. It allows us to feel pleasure. It allows us to smell, sense. You know, it allows us to go take a walk in the forest and smell the musty leaves that are decaying. It allows us to smell the flowers that are out. It allows us to taste all the incredible tastes that we do. It allows this consciousness to navigate the world that we're in, to be where we need to be where we're being called to be. And the most important thing it does is it allows us to experience God, because we are a facet of that diamond that is God. Or as I think it was Mary Jo, but it was said that we are the light of God that comes out through a prism, and we see all these different colors, and each of us is a unique color, and we can be that. In Essential Ernest Holmes, on page 127, Ernest Holmes says, there is a cosmic or divine pattern at the center of every organ of the physical body. Our body is some part of the body of God. It is a manifestation of the Supreme Spirit. So as we go out this week into the world, as we live as this God expression that we are, let's dive into the wonder of our body. Let's accept it and love it, and start paying attention to what it is we're saying. I was talking to somebody in a conversation, and another reverend friend of mine pulled me off to the side, and she goes, "Did you hear what you just said?" And I'm like, "What do you mean what I just said?" And I can't remember exactly what it was, but instead of saying with confidence, I was saying, well, if this happens. And she goes, "You need to start really paying attention to the words that you say, Jackie." And this is true. This is true of all of us. Pay attention to when we go and we get on the scale and say, "Oh, if only I was 10 pounds lighter." Well, rejoice in the fact that where you are right now. Love where you are right now. And so this week, I challenge you, I gift you this opportunity. How about that? I like that better. I'll gift you this opportunity to use the power of your words and thoughts to, rather than tell your body how bad it is or how ashamed you are or whatever it is, that there's something wrong, or only if you were this. Let's use that power of your words to talk to yourself about how beautiful and good you are. So I invite you to stand in front of a mirror, and you can choose whether you're clothed or naked. It doesn't matter, however you want to do this, but stand there and look at yourself and look into your eyes. Look into your own eyes and just absorb the beauty that you are. Just look at yourself as you would someone else, that you could see that beauty in someone else. Look at yourself as if you're that other person. And while you're doing that, just look at yourself and say, "I love you." And allow that to sink in for a moment, and then say, "Thank you." And so in closing, I found this poem, and I think it goes so well with the song that we heard and everything that's gone on today. And it's a poem about the body by a woman named Holly Holden. And it's called Today I Asked My Body What She Needed. Today I asked my body what she needed, which is a big deal considering my journey of not really asking that much. I thought she might need more water or protein or greens or yoga or supplements or movement. But as I stood in the shower, reflecting on her stretch marks, her roundness where I would like flatness, her softness where I would like firmness, all of those conditioned wishes that form a bundle of never quite rightness, she whispered very gently, "Could you just love me like this?" And so my response to that is, I do. And I love each and every one of you. And I am so grateful to be here. And just namaste to each and every one of you. And I'm, of course, willing to take questions after. Just give it a moment to sit in there about what is your body really asking you for. And so if you raise your electronic hand, I know I can see you.